Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spellbound, A Darker Shade of Black. Get your copy today at your favorite online bookseller. Soon after former President Trump's mugshot was presented on legacy media and social media, you had a contingent of black folks expressing their support for the former president. And a part of that contingent was out here talking about how they were N-words for Donald Trump, and these individuals wanted to go out here and make the argument that they were N-words for Donald Trump because they believe that the former president is being persecuted the same way many black people are by the criminal justice system. Now, according to these individuals, they believe that the former president is being persecuted by those on the left, similar to the way many black people are persecuted by law enforcement, and because they believe that the former president is being targeted by these individuals the way law enforcement targeted black people, they believe they identify with the former president, and they believe that they want to go out here and support him because they see him as they see themselves. Now, what's happening here is no different than what happened in the mid to late 90s with former President Bill Clinton. Now, back in the late 1990s, Bill Clinton was being prosecuted by Special Prosecutor Ken Starr and the Red Party for allegedly lying as related to some testimony, as related to a case where he said he did not have relations with that woman, Monica Lewinsky, a White House intern, and because they believed the president perjured himself, they sought to impeach Bill Clinton at the time. And at that time, many black people on the left sought to identify with Bill Clinton, saying that he was the America's first black president, and started to identify with him in the exact same way they started to identify with former President Trump. And I have to again shake my head at that whole perception of the black people relating to these white men, because these white men, while they are out here having their feud as related to politics, this is not something that you can relate to, because their persecution is all about their whole political system, and that whole political system of white privilege still sees black as completely different. That's where a lot of these black folks get it twisted on both the right and the left. While these men are out here in their feuds, they are really making the mistake of identifying with these individuals, not understanding that left and right are both anti-black, and red and blue are both anti-black. And what's really troubling here about this whole situation as related to this individual who started this whole campaign of N-words for Trump is that he's using a racial slur to go out here and express his support for the former president. Because if you're going to say that you want to support the president, you would think you would want to say black people for Trump, but this individual wants to go out here and do, like I said in a previous video, try to change the definition of this racial slur by using AZ as the end. But the true definition of this racial slur is designed to demean and degrade black people. So it doesn't matter if you change the spelling, it's still a racial slur, and it's a racial slur meant to demean and degrade black people. And when you have somebody using a racial slur like this, similar to the comic creator who went out here and was talking about how they wanted to use racist imagery to empower black people, what you're doing is going out here and demeaning black people. Because when somebody says oh, I'm an N-word for Donald Trump. Basically, what this person is saying that they are a black bootlick, and they are a black bootlick who has no respect for black people, and they'll go to the length of sacrificing their intangibles of character, such as their dignity and their self-respect, in order to gain the attention and approval of a former President Donald Trump, who is alleged by some black folks to be a racist. But what's really troubling here is the amount of self-hatred presented as related to this individual as they look to wage their support to support Donald Trump. That is what is troubling to me as related to this whole N-words for Trump t-shirt and Trump N-words for Trump campaign. It really shows how low some black people will go in order to go out here and try to get the favor of a former president. I mean, what's being done here is no different than the soft shoe tap dancing that Tucker Carlson was doing for Ice Cube. This is the same type of bootlicking that Ice Cube was doing, hoping to gain some favor from those whites on the far right. And it's the same type of bootlicking that was done during the Bill Clinton impeachment by those blacks who were on the left, both of them looking to gain favor by going out here and demeaning black people, by going out here and trying to identify with a white person who is going to get all of the benefits of white supremacy, and at the end of the day will show no respect for black people. And the critical question I gotta ask all those N-words for Donald Trump is, what is Donald Trump going to do for you in 2024? And the reason why I ask that critical question is because while you're saying you're an N-word for Trump, I don't see anybody talking about any sort of black agenda, nor do I see any of these individuals talking about black tangibles as related to things that are important to foundational black Americans, such as talking about police reform, such as talking about reparations, and talking about improving the quality of life for foundational black Americans who are dealing with things such as these supermarket droughts, and also dealing with all of the crime in black communities. Where is the agenda as related to these individuals who are caught up in their emotions as related to Donald Trump, the same way they were caught up in their emotions about Bill Clinton? And this is why you can't get in your emotions about supporting a candidate that you did not pick. No, when it comes to black empowerment and the politics of black empowerment, this is where we have to leave our feelings and our egos at the door, and we have to focus on laying out our agenda, because when it comes to politics, it's not about supporting candidates. This is a business transaction, and in a business transaction, you are looking to go out here and get people who you pick to bring tangibles back to you so that your community can get the benefits of the tax dollars that you pay, because elections are a payday. They are not some sort of circus, because what the circus that is being presented around Donald Trump is all meant to distract you from the business that needs to be done, because supporting a candidate based on feelings, that's how you wind up losing at the end of the day. And this is why black people wind up losing, because black people go out here and vote on their feelings as related to people, instead of going out here and thinking about this as the business transaction that it is. Because what's happening here with the whole indictment of Donald Trump is that this is one giant distraction, and the distraction is to keep black people from focusing on a black agenda and focusing on black empowerment, because with politics, we have no time for bootlicks. We have no time for clowns who say that they are N-words for Trump. No, we have to continue to stay focused, and we have to continue to stay focused on laying the foundation for a black agenda, because voting for a Donald Trump, it will get you the same amount of nothing that you would get for voting for Joe Biden if you don't have a clear and focused black agenda. If you don't have a clear and focused black agenda, then what is the purpose of going and voting red or blue if there's nothing coming out of the deal for you? That's the other critical question I'm asking most of these black folks who are out here saying, oh, I'm an N-word for Trump. I mean, if you're not getting anything out of the deal, then why are you supporting a candidate who is out here just based on your feelings? Yes, black people do go through a lot of persecution due to the system of white supremacy, but how is supporting a white supremacist gonna get you any benefits that are tangible that are gonna lead to change? Another critical question I gotta ask most of these black folks who look to support Donald Trump. Again, the candidate is supposed to be working for your agenda. You don't go out here based on your feelings, because if you go out here based on your feelings the same way we did it in the 90s with Bill Clinton, then you're going to get the same amount of nothing that we got. And all we got basically from Bill Clinton was the 94 crime bill, and that's led to the persecution of black people and the incarceration of black people. So this is why you cannot allow somebody to manipulate your emotions on the right or the left, and this is why black empowerment does not take sides, because taking one side of white supremacy against the other side of white supremacy does not benefit us at all. No, us taking the right side of white supremacy versus the left side of white supremacy, it's still white supremacy, and both sides of white supremacy, red or blue, are both anti-black, and if they're both anti-black, how does that empower black people? Another critical question I want to ask all those N-words for Trump: is it you going to get empowered from two sides that are both anti-black? We already know that Joker Joe ain't going to do nothing for us, and that shouldn't mean we run over to the right, because they haven't really done anything for our votes. And again, your vote has value, and you should be not looking to take your booty to the poll unless you get something tangible in exchange for it. You shouldn't be even thinking about supporting any candidate, because that's not how it goes. And this whole political theater, black folks, we gotta get out of our emotions about this political theater that's being orchestrated, because what this political theater is done is meant to get you to get in your emotions about the right side of white supremacy to support the left side of white supremacy. But you really need to think about this, because in 2020, the Joe Biden already told you he's going to do nothing for you, and Donald Trump really didn't do much for black people outside of his talk of securing the border, which indirectly got some black men jobs. But what we want is a concrete agenda, and a concrete agenda where we pick the candidate, and the candidates go out here and get us tangibles in exchange for our votes. That's what black people really need to be focusing on. We cannot get in our emotions about a candidate because he reminds us of Pookie, because a lot of people, they get in their emotions like they did with Bill Clinton, thinking that Donald Trump is just like Pookie, and some are out here even comparing his persecution to Martin Luther King Jr., comparing the struggles of Donald Trump as related to being similar to that of the persecution Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. went through when he was fighting for civil rights. And again, when I look at this situation with Donald Trump, it has nothing to do with civil rights, and the persecution is not the same. What's happening here again is political theater, and if you don't understand the chess game that's going on, what you're going to do is get played like many Americans did in 2022 when they went out here and got in their emotions about abortion and went to the polls, and what they got was the same amount of nothing. And now many of those people, like here in New York, are expressing regret for re-electing politicians like Kathy Hochul based on their feelings about abortion, because now as they're dealing with migrants in the state and there being no tangibles being dealt to the taxpayers, what's happening is people are expressing their regret. And this is why you don't vote on feelings. You don't vote on feelings, and you don't support candidates on feelings, because this is how both sides manipulate you. And they manipulate you because you're caught up in your feelings. And that's why when I see campaigns like this whole N-words for Trump, I just see how ignorant it is, and I see it as another form of manipulation from those on the right. And again, we have to really think critically about who we support, because candidates are people we're supposed to pick because they support our agenda, and we pick them because they're going to represent our agenda and be accountable to us. And a critical question I've got to ask is, who is Donald Trump accountable to as related to black people? If we didn't pick him, again, who would he be accountable to? Again, if he's accountable to white supremacists like the Proud Boys and many of these other groups, how can he be out here looking to support black people? And that's why I want black people to get out of their feelings, because they're making the same mistake we made in the 90s with Bill Clinton, with Donald Trump. And again, you don't support a candidate, you support an agenda. And if a candidate isn't representing your agenda, and as related to the black agenda, not supporting reparations, not supporting going out here and giving us police reform, not looking to deal with Pookie and Ray Ray, not looking to deal with the supermarket droughts that starve black communities, not looking to empower black-owned businesses, not looking to invest in heterosexual black men, not looking to go out here and provide tangibles to black people, then we shouldn't be talking about supporting that candidate, and we should give any candidate a side eye who just comes to us, because in this process, like the late David Carroll used to talk about, you need to be picking your candidates, and you need to be making sure they represent your agenda before you go out here and even consider to think about voting for them. Now, if you want to pick up some of my positive black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, like the ISIS series, the Esteem series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find those books at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you'd like to see me make more videos like this, you can send a donation to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. If you're interested in making six figures, then check out Ron Armstrong's 6-Figure PM program. In just 6 short weeks, you'll be trained to become a digital project manager, where you'll learn to build websites, apps, social media campaigns, and digital games. Best of all, you'll be the boss and manage your own team. No coding experience is required, and once you complete the program, you'll receive help in finding your first 6-figure job. The fee for the program is extremely affordable, so check it out now at www.the6figurepm.com. Classes are starting soon, so you'll want to enroll as soon as possible. Support black-owned and black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.